Hey everyone, as you know, we just got back from Japan about a month ago. We're still editing all the videos considering we have so much footage from Tokyo to Osaka, Kyoto, and Tokyo Disney Resort. So in the meantime, I actually wanted to share the information that I used for when we planned our trip to Japan. We just booked a new trip for 2019, which I'm completely excited about, in 264 days, not that I'm counting. But I wanted to show you from point A to point B where I saved the most money, what programs I used, what apps I used, as well as the order in which I did things to save us the most amount of money. So if you stay tuned, I want to share all this information with you. Alright, so first I wanted to go over the app that I used for hotels. You're going to see me looking down because I have all my notes with me. But the first thing I did was decide when you want to go to Japan. Is there a specific time? Do you want to see cherry blossoms, or do you want to go there in fall time to see the autumn leaves? Personally, I tend to go in springtime to visit. I liked May as my first time after Golden Week because the crowds were really low. This next trip I'm going to go around cherry blossom season, so it's going to be a little bit more crowded, but we really want to be there for that. Once you decide the time that you go, you can look at crowd calendars to decide when. I like to make a couple of different reservations as like placeholders. So I use the app called Agoda, A-G-O-D-A. A lot of their hotels you can book now and pay later. So say I'm between two different weeks and I'm not sure when I'm gonna go, I can actually make those reservations as a book now, pay later, and book those 2 separate weeks until I decide that's the official week and I'll buy my airline tickets. And usually when you buy at least 9 months in advance, you can get these hotels super cheap. For example, we have a very nice hotel that we're staying at next vacation for 10 nights, really close to great train stations and the monorail system. And for 10 nights, it's about like $1,000. But when you're averaging that between the two of us, that's basically we're paying $50 a night to stay in a really great location within the city of Tokyo. When you go on this app, when you look at the hotels and the lists, what I like to do is find hotels that are in very close distance to the subway stations. Then once you figure out what once you figure out what subway stations that you're next to, see what lines are there. You want to be on the Ginza if possible. That's a really great subway line to be on in Japan. But just to your information, I mean, see what are the sites that you want to see when you're there, and see, okay, does this line connect to that site? Is it going to be easy to access? I found that pretty much anywhere you stay in Tokyo, it's going to be easy. Their subway system's incredible. But if that's something important to you, then make sure to see what subway stations are by the hotel that you want to stay at. And try to get a hotel that's kind of close to a subway station, because you don't want to spend every morning walking like 2 kilometers just to get to a subway station. So that's pretty important. So let's see here. Oh, just so you know, when you do the book now, pay later. So you're booking now. Usually the pay later date will be a week before you actually arrive to that destination. So if your reservation's April 9th, then your pay now date would probably be April 1st. But what I like to do is, before I actually go to Japan, I just call Agoda and say, hey, listen, can I just pay for all my hotels now? That way, if there's an issue, I can call the bank while I'm still in the United States. So, but to each our own. You can also do it when you do the pay later and you're actually in the country. When you do book the hotel, it books it in yen. So say the exchange rate right now is really good. That could hinder you if the exchange rate gets bad before you go, because when you do the pay later date, you pay at the worth of the yen at that current time. So say right now a dollar is 110 yen, which is great. But what if the yen falls and a dollar US is 100 yen? Then you're going to end up paying more because you're paying what the yen is worth. But I found, for me, it's been about the same. So I booked in 110 and maybe I paid for it 109. And sometimes the people working at Agoda will honor the rate that you got when you actually booked it. So last trip, the yen had fallen to about 108. I booked it at like 112. So she actually honored my old rate that I had, so I actually ended up paying less. Agoda has been nothing but wonderful to me. Their customer service is great. We used Agoda for 3 of our hotels, mainly the city hotels. So in Tokyo, Osaka, and Kyoto, we had no issues whatsoever. We did the book now, pay later. I paid for it before we went to Japan, and there was absolutely no issues at check-in or check-out. It was smooth. So I highly, highly, highly recommend Agoda to anybody. It makes the trip so much easier and so much easier to plan because you already have the hotel reservations. Now, let's see. Also, you can use Agoda if you're going to Tokyo Disney Resort. You can use Agoda for the Hotel Okura Tokyo Bay, which is on the monorail line for Tokyo Disney. You can use it for the Hilton as well as the Sheraton. Tokyo Disney hotels are not on Agoda, but the official partner hotels of Tokyo Disney, which is like in our Lake Buena Vista area, we have partner hotels with Disney, the ones that have shuttles to the parks and everything. It's similar to that. But these official hotels are on the monorail line for the resort. So you can also do that, which this next vacation, I have us staying at Hotel Okura, Tokyo Bay. And I already booked it. So I already have our 5 nights there, and I can feel safe that I already have those nights. And it was really cheap compared to the Disney resort. It's like half the cost of Disney resorts. Now, I noticed a lot of YouTubers that I've seen out there have been recommending the Hilton Hotel, but personally, I have Hilton Honors, and the rates for the Hilton Hotel weren't that impressive. If you look at the ratings on Agoda, Hotel Okura Tokyo Bay actually has higher ratings, and it's cheaper. So I went with that. So we'll see how this trip goes. I'll record the hotel and everything and see how it goes, but I'm feeling pretty positive about that. I saved about $300 more by booking at Hotel Okura compared to Hilton. I heard there's no language barrier, but if there is, I do know a little Japanese, so I'm not too worried. Let's see. Yeah, like I said, you can always call Agoda before you arrive if you want to feel more confident that you've paid it in America and you're not going to have any issues overseas. And let's see. Yep, I think that's about it for Agoda. Just make sure whenever you find out your dates, book the hotels right away. Hotels do tend to fill up pretty fast in Tokyo, especially if you're going during cherry blossom season. So let's move on to our next subject, considering you've already booked your hotel with Agoda. All right, so let's say you've decided the time of the year that you want to go to Japan. You've used Agoda so that you have a couple of varying weeks of when you want to go. So next you want to track some flights. So if you've made a couple different week reservations with hotels, what you want to do is use the app called Skyscanner. It's an app as well as a site that you can view from your desktop. What I do is I set up a couple varying dates leaving. Say, I want to look at a flight leaving Wednesday, coming back on a Wednesday. I want to watch a flight leaving Wednesday, then maybe coming back that following Saturday. And what it will do is it will track it, and it will notify you when prices change. So I like to use it daily almost because I wanted to make sure I was getting the best price. But you can set it to the airport that you want to depart from, and then you can set it to the city that you want to arrive at, or you can set it to the specific airport that you want to arrive at. For me personally, when I go to Tokyo, I want to fly into Haneda because Haneda is closer to the city center and it's way closer to Disney. So you can find transportation that's much cheaper if you fly into Haneda. But if you just want to save costs on flights, you can set it to search my departure to Tokyo, any airport, and it will look at both Narita and Haneda Airport for you as well. Now let's see. Like I said, choose 3 different departure dates, 3 different arrival dates, and just keep tracking them. Personally, from Orlando to Tokyo, the lowest I have ever seen any flight ever go, and this is during low season, was $991, and that was through Air Canada. So I kept that in mind when I looked at our trip for April. So last week, I had been tracking flights to Japan for March 2019 to April 2019 for about a month now, and they were staying in the $1,200 range, which is low still, but I knew it could get lower. So last week, they went down to $1,065 each, including taxes and fees through Air Canada. So I jumped on that opportunity because I knew the lowest I had ever seen it go was $991, so I just had to make the jump because I was so scared, and I am certainly glad I did because the same flight now is almost $1,600. So really happy I did that. So my advice is try to find the dates that you're going at least 6 to 9 months ahead of time. I found my best prices have always been around 9 months before my departure. That's always been the lowest. So say I want a springtime trip, the lowest flights I always see are in July and on a weekday. This time it was on a Monday, which is surprising because normally I will buy tickets on a Tuesday or Wednesday because those will be lower prices, but I took the jump on a Monday and I am so glad I did because I basically saved us $1,000 because flights jumped up like crazy. And this was also more of a peak season because of the cherry blossoms and people have time off from Japan. So really happy I did that. So use Skyscanner. Another app you can use, I've used it, it didn't really do me that much good, but it's good for alerting you of what are the best prices available. Hopper, Hopper. It's another app. You can set it to track certain dates and it'll tell you, hey, flights around this time are $1,200. You should wait because we think it could get cheaper. Or it'll say, hey, flights are $1,200. Jump on top of this. You better get this flight because this is the cheapest it'll ever get. Personally, it didn't work the best for me, but if you're more of a person you're not going to check every day, this thing will send you a text and alert you when it thinks you should go ahead and buy these tickets. So use Skyscanner and make sure to use Hopper. Those are two really, really good options to use to track. Now let's say that you are tracking this flight and you found, wow, this one got really low. Skyscanner is telling me visit all these different sites, Expedia, Kayak, blah, blah, blah. Personally, never book through those sites like Expedia. I find I get better prices, I have better customer service, I have more of a guarantee on the ticket I'm buying if I buy directly from the company. So Skyscanner told me, hey, Air Canada, it's gonna be a really low cost. Go to Expedia, go to Vayama, a couple other sites. Well, guess what? It actually ended up being cheaper directly from Air Canada's website. Plus, I have that security of knowing I booked directly with the company. I feel a little bit safer. I feel like if anything were to happen with delays, etc., that I'd be more covered booking directly with them. So yeah, I booked directly with Air Canada. We booked with them last time. I loved it. At first, I was kind of like, oh my gosh, I have to go from Orlando to Toronto to Tokyo, so that's going to be way longer. Next trip, I'm going to plan Orlando to LA to Tokyo. Turns out, going to Toronto to Japan actually ends up being a quicker trip because it's 2.5 hours from Orlando to get to Toronto, and then Toronto to Tokyo is about 12.5 hours. So if you want to do the Orlando to LA is about 5.5 hour flight. Then LA to Tokyo is about still 10 hours. So you end up actually spending more time on the plane. I guess I just wasn't thinking that because we're going north across the globe instead of going across the globe right at the equator level horizontal. So that was really interesting, and I feel like I should have studied more at school. Maybe that would have made more sense. So yeah, Air Canada is a great one, especially flying out of MCO in Orlando. So do that. Let's see here. Like I said earlier, try your best to go into Haneda because it's really going to save you a lot more time and money. Even though it might be like $50 more of a ticket if you want to fly to Haneda, you're going to save so much costs on taxi rides, monorail rides, subway rides, bus fares. There's so many different factors. Haneda, for me, our first hotel, it's about 20 minutes away, which is nothing. If we were to fly into Narita, it would have been like an hour and a half away. Also, when you're at the Tokyo Disney Resort, Haneda to Tokyo Disney, I believe, is about 45 minutes to an hour. But if you were to do Narita, that would be like an hour and a half to 2 hours on a bus, which I'm not about to do. That's way too long. Especially when you've had a whole vacation and you're kind of ready to get to the airport and go home. So yeah, make sure Haneda is the best airport. I love it. So let's see what's next. Okay, next we were going to move on to Disney hotels. So say you want Disney to be a part of your trip. But before I forget, back to flights, I found the best prices to be if you were to leave on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. And the best prices to leave Japan and come back home were to leave on a usually Wednesday, Thursday, or Saturday. So keep that in mind. So try to leave your destination or leave your home on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and leave your destination on a Wednesday, Thursday, or Saturday. Just keep that in mind. So now to our Disney hotel. Now, our first trip, I stayed at the official actual Disneyland hotel in Tokyo. It is really expensive. I wanted to do it just because I was like, hey, it's my first time going and I wanted to live it up. But now I know I can save money, so I'll do that. But if you are staying at a Tokyo Disney hotel, know that you can make reservations, I believe, 5 months in advance. It could be 6 months, so make sure to double check. But I think it was 5 months in advance that you can book your Tokyo Disney hotel. Now, one thing I was told by some friends is when you book a hotel or book anything in Japan overseas, your credit card has to be something called 3D verified. So I called my bank, which is, it's a Visa card through Wells Fargo. So I called my bank and said, hey, I need to do some reservations online for Japan, but I'm being told it's 3D verified. What is that? So on the phone, they were able to walk me through the steps and get it 3D verified over the phone. I believe you can also do it online. Basically, it's just setting up another step. So you would put in your credit card information and that security code, and then it would actually take you to a 3D verified website where you would enter in another password, which you would create with the 3D verified. So it's just another step of security to do that on a Japanese website. They just require a crazy amount of security. So I've heard some people have problems. I personally did not have an issue with the Disney hotel. I did have an issue with I could not get tickets. With the same exact card on the Tokyo Disney website, I tried a million times. I got like 2 different cards 3D verified. I could not get Disney tickets. I could get the Disney hotel as long as I created a user ID and gave them my information and used 3D verified card. I could not get tickets. So if you do need tickets, feel secure that if you do stay at a Disney hotel or one of the Disney official partner hotels, you are guaranteed entry into the parks. You can buy your tickets once you get to the hotel, or you can buy tickets at the Disney store in Shibuya, which is what we're gonna do this next trip. Even though we're guaranteed the tickets, I would just feel better getting the tickets in Shibuya at the Tokyo Disney store and just having them. So just keep that in mind. Now let's see, also, remember, there are 2 different levels basically of the Tokyo Disney resorts. They have their deluxe resorts, which is going to be the Tokyo Disneyland Resort in the Miracosta, and one that's just slightly below it, I mean, I'm talking minuscule, is the Disney Ambassador Hotel. You'll save a little bit of costs on that. The only thing with that is it is not directly on the monorail line, and the monorail line is not included with the price. So you have to pay for the monorail at the Tokyo Disney Resort. They sell day passes. I usually always get the 4-day pass because it just makes more sense to just buy them. So Tokyo Disneyland Hotel, Miracosta, they are included. You get your monorail pass. Disney Ambassador, monorail pass is not included. Then they have what they consider their value resorts is the Celebration Hotel. That is located, I believe, a 20-minute bus ride outside of property, but it is considered the Disney Hotel, so you are guaranteed entry with tickets being purchased at the hotel, but you do not have a monorail pass included in that. Personally, I've heard some good things, but from locals and friends that live overseas, I personally will not stay at those resorts because you're still paying like an exuberant amount of money and you're going to be 20 minutes off of property. I'd rather just stay at one of the Disney official partner hotels and save money and be right on the monorail line. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Now, when you book one of the deluxe resorts, which is going to be Ambassador, Miracosta, or Tokyo Disneyland, be prepared. You will pay a deposit when you book. The day of booking, you will pay 300 yen for those deluxe resorts, and I believe 150, I'm sorry, I'm saying 300 yen, but I mean 30,000 yen, which is the equivalent of about $290. And if you are staying at the value resort, that one's going to be 15,000 yen, which is the equivalent of about $140. So expect that to be taken out of your bank account as soon as you book. Now, you would pay the remaining costs when you check into the hotel. Online, you will see them say you pay at checkout. That is not true, because I called my bank and said, listen, we're going to be spending this amount of money on this day at checkout, because that's what it says online. But no, when you get there and you check in, you will pay for the rest of the costs of that trip. So just be expected for that. Tell your bank that you will be spending that amount of money, because if you're spending a large amount of money, your credit card could get locked up. Even if you already tell them you're going to be overseas, it still could not go through possibly. Worst case scenario, put $10 credit on your Skype, and you can Skype your bank using their international number. If you go to your bank's website, they will usually have links to international numbers, like the Japanese number to call to get in touch with Wells Fargo. So yeah, just make sure you have a backup plan on top of a backup plan on top of a backup plan, because spending that amount of money while I was overseas made me super nervous, but luckily it all went through smoothly. So let's see if I have any more notes. Oh, also, if you are staying at a Disney hotel, you can make some of your reservations right away at some of the, like, not in-park restaurants. So I was able to book our buffet restaurant for breakfast on our day that we were leaving. You can book a lot of the restaurants that are located in the resorts as soon as you make your reservation, or as soon as you make your resort reservation. But the ones for in the park, like Magellan's, Restaurant Hokusai, and Disneyland, you can't book those until, I believe, either 60 or 30 days. I want to say it was 30 days before you leave. You cannot book those restaurants. So just make sure you set your alarms, make sure you do your research and write down the dates, because it'll be the day of your arrival, 30 days in advance. You can book the reservations for all the most popular restaurants located inside of the park. So just remember that. And I think, oh, just one more note. The only resorts, I believe, that have this available. So if you stay at Tokyo Disneyland Hotel or Tokyo, the Miracosta Hotel and the Ambassador Hotel, they do offer purchases made in the park. You can have shipped to your hotel. So you'll pick it up at the bell desk or possibly concierge. So keep that in mind, because that was really awesome. We stayed at Tokyo Disneyland Hotel, and it was nice being able to shop in the park all day and just say, hey, can you please send this to my hotel? And then, you know, at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, I just swing by, pick up the goods, and I didn't have to carry them all day in the park with me. So that's another great benefit to staying at the Tokyo Disney hotels. And let's see, I think that was about all my notes on the Disney hotel. So let's see what is next. We've talked about some of the more major things to do for your vacation planning, but let's talk about some of the more minor ones. So, well, determining on how you describe minor or major, the next thing I'm going to talk about is pocket Wi-Fi. So I was told you could either, if you had an unlocked phone, you could do the SIM card and buy a SIM card in Japan, or for me, I did not have an unlocked phone. What I could do is set my phone to airplane mode to make sure it didn't access anything unless I was on Wi-Fi, and I purchased a pocket Wi-Fi. Personally, I went through japanrailpass.com. I think it's JR Rail Pass, and it was super easy. We booked it for the day we arrived until the day that we left, and it was really, I mean, it wasn't too pricey. It was about $90, and we were there for about 16 days. And the Wi-Fi never acted up. You just have to make sure to charge it every night. I mean, it probably lasts a couple days, but I like to be safe and just charge it every single day. That personally was one of the best decisions I made, because there were so many times I needed to use Google Maps because Kyoto and Osaka were a little harder to navigate than Tokyo. So I'm super, super glad that I had the pocket Wi-Fi. And the vendor itself, they were easy. So what we did is we chose the option of picking up our pocket Wi-Fi when we arrived at the airport. They have their own stand within Haneda Airport, and it's so easy. You just give them your name, your reservation number, and bam, you get a pocket Wi-Fi. It did not come charged, so we couldn't use it until we got to our hotel and charged it up a little bit, but that wasn't a big problem. And then when you're done with the pocket Wi-Fi, they give you already a pre-addressed paid envelope. So when you go back to Haneda Airport, there's actually a post box. It's right by the Japan Airlines desk. I can't remember the number, but it's as soon as you walk into departures, there's a post box on the right-hand side. You just put all the stuff back in there, stick it up, close it, and then you put it right in there and you're done. That was it, and we had no problems, and it was well worth it. Just make sure to book it far in advance to make sure you have a guaranteed pocket Wi-Fi for your trip. So say you're like me and you tend to pack a little heavy. You might have 2 suitcases because, hey, you're traveling for 2 weeks and you know you're gonna get souvenirs. Keep this in mind. It is super simple. If you're staying at multiple hotels in multiple cities, every hotel has access to shipping your luggage to your next destination, and it is so cheap. Seriously, I mean, it was only $20 for me to ship my luggage from Tokyo all the way to Kyoto. So that's actually like a 6-hour drive, I think, and it's about 3 hours on the train. But yeah, I mean, and not to have that stress of carrying a giant luggage around, because yes, they do have escalators or elevators, but they're not in every single subway station, and it's a lot of stress to bring with you on a vacation. So just to make it simple, just put your stuff in one suitcase, a big one, and then have that shipped. And then you can keep a smaller suitcase with you with your more important items. It was awesome. You pay either by weight or by size, depending on what's larger. And I'm talking, my suitcase was huge, and it was probably close to 50 pounds, and it was $20. So keep that in mind. 20 bucks is all it takes for you to ship your luggage from point A to point B. But this next trip, I think we're gonna get away with not having to ship anything, because I planned a hotel that's on the monorail line from Haneda Airport. So we can just go straight to Haneda, hop on the monorail, get to our hotel, and then our hotel to Tokyo Disney Resort is only 2 subway lines. And I already looked at the subway stations to make sure they both had escalators and elevators, so I think we're set. So keep that in mind too if you do have a lot of luggage. Not everything has escalators and elevators, although they are refurbishing a lot because the Olympics are coming in 2020. So keep that one on the back burner. Then let's see. Like I said, unless you plan to take the Shinkansen trains a lot, don't get the JR Rail Pass. Now, I did tell you about those Disney tickets. You can try to buy them online if you can beforehand, but if that doesn't work and you're nervous because you're not staying at a Tokyo hotel or Tokyo Disney hotel, and you're not staying at the official partner hotels, so you're not guaranteed entry, you can also buy them through Klook. My friend Chris over at TDR Explorer, if you go to his channel, he offers a code that will save you some money, so you can buy a 1-day, 1-park pass that'll guarantee you entry that day. And then you can always go up to guest services there and get it upgraded to however many days you're going there, but at least you're guaranteed the 1 day. I mean, it's better than nothing. But again, if you did your research and you're going on an off-season time, you shouldn't have any issues getting into the Disney parks. The only issue would be if you go during major holidays, like the Golden Week or possibly a Saturday or a Sunday. Avoid weekends at all costs at Tokyo Disney, trust me. I've seen some videos and they're horrendous. Personally, I won't only go from Tuesday to Fridays. That's the only day. Also, if you plan on doing any excursions or any trips, say, okay, I want to do Mount Fuji day trip, or I want to do a tea experience, which is what we did in Kyoto. A really good site and app that's available is called Viator. I believe it's Viator. We actually booked a tea making experience through them, and you know, I'm always nervous using new companies or those apps. It was perfect. It worked smoothly. It was reputable. We had all the information that we needed. We found the place okay, and they were all ready for us, so it was perfect. So if you do plan on doing some excursions, go through Viator. It's in English or other languages depending on where you're coming from, and it is perfect. For my last part, I asked on Instagram some of my followers to send me some questions that they had for traveling to Japan, so I wanted to answer a couple of the important ones that I had received. This first one is from the Disney Dreamer __. She asks, how was it with the language barrier? My boyfriend and I want to go so bad, but we love everything Japan, but I don't know even where to start. Okay, personally, I know a little Japanese, and I think it's best to at least try to learn some of the basics, like excuse me, I'm sorry, please, thank you. But I did find even at the local 7-Eleven or Lawson or Family Mart, they have, you know, they do have really good hand gestures, and I didn't find the language barrier that large. As long as you know a few words that are simple in English or a few words in Japanese, we found it really easy to get by. One of the really good phrases that I had learned was, excuse me, do you speak English? Because you can't just walk up to someone and be like, English? Because that's extremely rude, just like I think it is, you know, when someone walks up to me here at Disney and they just like scream at you, like, you know. But if you were to at least learn, sumimasen, eigo dekimasu ka? Means, excuse me, do you speak English? Even if they say a little, which is choto, at least it's being polite and asking. And if they don't know, just say, you know, I'm sorry, gomen, and just move on. But if they do start talking, which I'm telling you 95% of the time, they will be able to talk to you and help you, I didn't find that barrier to be really large. Now the only place maybe we had a tougher time is if you're going to more mom and pop kind of restaurants that may not have even an English menu, then you are going to have a lot harder of a time finding someone that does speak English. But just try to learn the basics, download some apps. There's great YouTube videos out there of Americans that are living abroad that do share some of the really good phrases to learn in Japanese, which is where I learned it. So yeah, just make sure to broaden your horizons and really try to embrace yourself into the culture and the language, because it's going to make your trip so much more enjoyable. Now moving on to Tokyo Disney Resort, over there I had no language issues whatsoever. Most people obviously see me and they assume I speak English, so they would speak English first. Even though I may have said something in Japanese first to be polite, they automatically like knew, okay, this girl speaks English, so they would speak English to me. So yeah, over at Disney, I had no issues whatsoever. Even if you have an issue, the cast members are so genuinely nice. They will find you someone to help you. There was an issue where there was a really beautiful gown I wanted to get, and I wasn't sure what it was, so I asked her in Japanese, like, what is this? And she obviously knew I spoke English, so she just said, wait. And it literally took like 2 minutes, and she brought out another girl from the back that spoke really good English to tell me, like, I was curious if this was ceremonial, if this was more of a pajama, what this was, and she was able to answer the question for me. So no matter what, you're going to get an answer in English there at Tokyo Disney Resort, so don't worry if that's your main destination as the Tokyo Disney Resort, there will be no language barriers. But still, I mean, it's fun. Just try to learn the language, and you're gonna have a more fun of a time, and then you're gonna be able to talk to more locals, and like me, you'll get to make amazing new friends like I did over there. I'm so excited to go back to see everybody too, and they all know who they are. Now let's see what my next question was. Our next question was from Victoria_Holmes. My question, do you think it is worth it to stay on Disney property in Tokyo, or would it be better to stay off property? It depends. If your main goal is to just go to the Tokyo Disney Resort in Japan, which it's great, but I really think you should immerse yourself in real Japan as well. If you just go to the Tokyo Disney Resort, then just stay on Tokyo Disney property or one of the official hotels in the monorail line. It's going to save you time. You're not going to have to stress out about having to take any subways, and you're just going to have to take the Disney monorail line. That's it. Now, what I do when I go over to Japan is I usually try to spend 1 week in real Japan, and then I'll spend 5 days at Tokyo Disney Resort. So if you're doing that, what I do is I like to choose just any hotel that's in the Tokyo City area that's near good subway lines. And then I'll stay there for the first portion of my trip, and then I'll switch over to a Disney hotel over at the Tokyo Disney area for my Disney part of the trip. And like I said before, the benefits are if you stay at an official Disney hotel, then you have the option of shipping your goods from the parks to your rooms, check-ins at 3 p.m. The checkout's pretty late. I believe it was like noon for us, which is awesome. And also you will have guaranteed park admissions. You can buy the tickets for the parks in the hotels. The only downside of the partner hotels that are on the monorail line is you just don't have that shipping to room option, honestly, and the monorail is not included in your price. So you will have to buy, for example, a 4-day monorail pass at the Tokyo Disney Resort is about $14, which is totally not a big deal at all. So I hope that answers your question, and hopefully when you do go, you get to experience a little bit of Tokyo. So in the case that you're staying at Tokyo Disney Resort, say you want to be in the parks for 4 days and maybe experience a day of Tokyo, then I would say just stay on the Disney property. And for the day that you want to go into Tokyo City, just take the train. It's not too long of a ride. It's probably going to be 40 minutes just to get into the city, and then depending on where you're going, you may have to switch to another subway line. So I would do that if maybe you just want to spend 1 day in the city, but hopefully you'll want to spend more because Japan is amazing and beautiful. Well, I hope this video, I was able to help you out in your trip to Japan, and I really hope all of you can make it out there soon because Japan is just amazing, gorgeous, the culture is beautiful, the people are amazing, everybody's so nice and welcoming, and obviously there's Tokyo Disney, which is incredible, and for me, it's one of the most memorable experiences of my life, and I can't wait to go back. So if you do have any questions, please leave them down in the comments, and I would love to answer them because I love to tell everyone to go to Japan because it's incredible. So go ahead and leave a comment below, hit the like button, and hit subscribe because we are going to be posting weekly vlogs, and the next one I believe should be at Magic Kingdom, and that should be up by next week. So I will see you around, and I hope to talk to you soon. Bye!